Welcome to Modern Seniors. We are living in a time of rapid change, facing a technological singularity, a digital divide that continues to grow, and it can be very isolating and frightening. We're here in Modern Seniors to help people feel more encouraged and comfortable. And as part of the process, we're struggling with the technology ourselves. We're enjoying the learning curve, and we have a special guest with us today, Andre Barron, who is a tech expert, at least compared to us. Looking forward to learning from Andre today.
Thank you.
Oh, we're really, Andre, we're very excited to have you here with us. We have been looking forward to bringing our guests. So you're actually the one, you're the first one that came to our podcast. And so we're very honored that you made yourself available to come. So thank you so much, Andre, for
And thank you for the
coming.
invite.
Yeah, our pleasure. Okay, so here we go. Tell us a little bit about you, actually. Neil and I have known you, but tell us a little bit more about you. How did you get so smart when it comes to technology? And you call yourself the tech enthusiast. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I've been, I've always been interested in technology. I remember when I was 12, 13 years old, my parents getting the first computer at the home, and me, and then later when I was, a little older, buying my own computer, blowing it up pretty quickly, which, was very sad. So I've always been playing with technology. That's something that has interested me greatly, and I'm the type of person that will just play. I will try new things. I will go, okay, what happens if I do this? Okay, let's explore this. Let's look on the internet and find out how this works, or things like that. So, whether it's computers, um, cameras, I do quite a bit of photography, sound gear. So, as you guys know, I run the sound team at City View Church, and that I'm just basically self-taught. I've just played with things, gone, okay, how does this work? What makes sense to me? And then I teach others how to do that as well. And even, my work, I work with data. So I'm working on a computer, I'm, pulling reports, all that type of thing.
Wow, that's really incredible because, as you know, Neil and I, when we actually started and uh, planning to launch the modern seniors, we were struggling with technology. Either my my audio doesn't work very well, that I actually sound like a Mickey Mouse, or Neil's computer is clicking. And so there's always it seems that every week we have some challenges. But we were committed to continue on. And we actually, Neil and I agreed, we are going to just launch even though it is not going to be perfect. Right, Neil?
100%, yes. And believe you me, we have spent some entire hours and longer. We intended to be broadcasting, just figuring out technological problems.
Yes.
Yeah, that's often how it goes, even for me. Just okay. Why is this not working? And then I look at my clock and go, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I need to give up for tonight and go to bed.
Right? Yeah, Andre, actually, I have a kind of an interesting question for you. I've been
Shoot.
thinking about this digital divide because I talk to people who say, oh yeah, I was always very good at business or at being a secretary or whatever, but when computers came along, I drew the line. I didn't think they were very important and I wasn't going to have anything to do with them. I think everybody has a line that they draw. For some, it might be staring at a screen. For others, it might be having something chip under your skin or inserted into your brain or something like that. Is there anywhere that you would draw the line as far as technology goes?
I would not want to lose the essence of who I am as a person. And I think some of that actually, I'm seeing some or drawing some lines, even now, looking at things like generative AI, where it can create all sorts of wonderful things. And as somebody who is a photographer, um, and and an artist, I would not use it to generate anything, any music or video or pictures, really, just because I feel like it has been trained on you know on other people's works. It's not creating anything new per se. It's just putting things together in a different format, and frankly, artists need to be doing that. We need to have artists doing that. Some of the other thing, I have used AI for other stuff. I use it in as a tool in my work for to help with some of the data processing tasks and some programming instructions. But I wouldn't use it for actual image creation or things like that.
That's a
Well,
sharp.
I'm actually glad that you said that AI is a tool. And I think that if we actually think about that, if it is a tool, then it should not replace our creativity. It
Yeah.
shouldn't replace our originality. Like the separation between learning machine and human is huge, right? Because we can come up with instant, questions, or our body language relate to other people when we're talking to them. And it conveys what we think, what our emotions. Whereas if we rely so much on AI, then it almost like taking away that creativity. And I can tell you for myself, since chat GPT, and now I'm actually using Gemini throughout my daily tasks, my goal this year is to automate everything, my daily tasks, to 90%. And I would, if you ask me 5 years ago, if how my attitude on AI reflects my work, I would probably say I don't think so, right? But we have to think about technology as really as an aid, as a tool
Yeah.
to help us become more maybe effective. And yeah, what do you think, Neil?
Well, I think that one of the things I'm experiencing, and probably a lot of other people are as well, is a lot of time pressure associated with technology. 1 minute you're on the learning curve, the next minute you're thinking, oh, I really need to learn this fast and get proficient at it, or I'm going to fall behind everybody else. And I've noticed a lot of YouTube videos lately where I think, and this might be a 30-minute or 40-minute video where someone's narrating some concepts. I, it occurs to me that it looks like this is a created by AI. And I imagine the person's recording a couple of minutes of themselves and then having AI match their gestures and their breathing and their blinking and everything to what they're saying during the podcast. So all they have to do is feed in a text and it can create a video. But I see a potential for people to become very bored or exasperated with that sort of use of AI, even as it keeps on getting better and better, and starting to prefer even a primitive personal approach, even something as broken down as our attempts to use YouTube and StreamYard and all of these other podcasting technologies.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll admit that when I'm looking at, when I'm watching a video, and it's happened to me recently a number of times where it's like, oh no, the the intonation is not right, the pausing's not right. This was AI generated. No,
Yeah.
I'll click off it. I'll watch something different. I choose not to watch those just because, for one thing, they tend to be quite repetitive at times.
Yeah.
And the more I notice the inconsistencies with, what a human would do, the more it just grates on my nerves. And it's like, okay, no, he would have had to breathe at some point here. So no, I'm going away.
Yeah, and it's even worse when you see celebrities' images being borrowed. Last night, for example, Tamara said, "Do you think this is really Steve Martin?" And I watched it for a little while. I thought, it could be Steve Martin. I can't tell for sure, but based on the way the relatively flat intonation and low performance values, for example, I think that as an actor, he would do a better job and be much more entertaining than what this is. But it certainly looked like Steve Martin saying whatever it was somebody wanted him to say.
Yeah.
So I think for us, Andre, I think the reason why this month, the month of March, we highlight technology, partly because a it's an awareness, technology defense awareness month in March, but also I think I heard so many seniors too who refuses to adapt to technology, and I don't know why that is. Have you heard or seen this in your own circle, even at work, about individuals, maybe they are 50 plus, who refuses to adapt to technology? I wonder if you have that.
Um, I have not had a ton of that. I'm one of the older people at work, ironically, or at least in my section, so it's a lot more difficult. Um, but yeah, I mean, I can see, and yes, there have been some people in my life that oh, I don't know how to use this. I don't know, and I think that hesitancy to adopt something new, there's a lot of fear in that. Um, and when you're talking, and for me, somebody who's a senior, um, I think they're at a point in life where they're like, okay, I had this all figured out, more or less. I was in command of my life, and then these new things come in, and they take time and challenge me to learn, and you know that may that challenge may not be something that they want to engage with. That and more than that, the feeling of failing, of the, okay, I pick up my phone and I can never remember how to, how to get into my banking app or things like that. Um, and then, compounding that is the fact that all of these things change,
Right.
the banking app. Okay, well, just recently for me, my banking app said, "Oh, you gotta go download this new one," and now we've got a new color icon. I've got to remember, okay, which version of it is it that I'm supposed to be using? The whole interface has changed,
Mhm.
and I can see how that can make it very difficult to just um, understand what is happening
Mhm.
and feel confident that I can do this. And perhaps it's a easier thing to say, look, why do I need to worry about a smartphone? I just need a phone to pick up the phone and call somebody. That's all I need to do. I don't need any of this other stuff. So I do understand that. This technology can be tough to grasp.
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration in addition to fear. And part of that, I think, is because the technology is just new still. I mean, even 20, 50 years in, it's still we're still very amateur at creating this kind of technology and making it work for people who have all kinds of different skill levels.
Yeah, and it yeah, and it changes, right? And what we did with technology, um, even 10 years ago, the I had one of the first iPhones or the first iPhone Apple released, and that was just over 10 years ago. I, yeah, just around 10 years ago. This iPhone that I'm using these days, it's you know light years ahead,
Mhm.
and it has many more functions. All these things. It looks similar, but even then, things have disappeared, buttons have disappeared, and all that. So um, you can learn it, learn something new, and
Hmm.
then there's now we're innovating. And I think also all of this innovates, and it's sometimes it's change for the sake of change, which doesn't make it any easier to actually understand what's happening or keep up with it.
Mhm.
Why do I need a new iPhone every 2 years? Why do I need, or every year, or you know, a new computer? Why do I need to install a new operating system on my computer every year? Things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And besides being a huge hit on the pocketbook, as you mentioned, it can
Yeah.
also be there's all this privacy and security stuff that we have to worry about. The
Yeah,
phone is always asking me to put in my credit card number, and I'm going, do I really want to do that right now? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
just back off and put this on my wish list for later consideration,
Yeah.
rather than diving in and giving out my financial information.
Yeah.
Privacy and security, I think that creates tension in the body every time you get that kind of message.
Yeah.
So it can be very unsettling. And
Well, changes.
if you're trying to relax in your old age and take it easy and maybe not
Yeah.
put so much strain on yourself, that's the last thing you need.
Yeah.
yeah,
Change is not always easy to come by though. Like I you know, I'm I think my personality, I always like change, but when I have like technology, for example, like coming to starting in our podcast, and I struggle with, where why am I not? I'm hearing uh, you guys, but you're not hearing me. So there are stages, I think, in life where we start learning, and then that when we think we figure it out, and then somebody else take it away, and it keeps changing. And I think the moment that I felt like, oh, I am really confident in turning the computer and my phone and my audio, and something changed. So
Mhm.
I think it is part of, I don't know, change. There's something that we welcome and something that we don't welcome as much,
Yeah,
right?
and there are so many layers to it. In addition, it's not just the new gadgets that we have to get used to and the new processes that we have to
Right.
adjust to. It's also the fact that society is changing, that we're observing what's happening to our kids as they are exposed to more and more screen time. and less personal contact or outdoor time that we
Yeah.
used to enjoy. And we wonder, is this really a good thing? Are these changes positive? What's going to happen to our culture, our society, our civilization,
Yeah.
humanity as a whole as a result of all this?
Yeah. I I agree with you, Neil, and I think that that is what we have talked about before. Andre, what do you think technology, what do you look forward to in the future with the rise and advancement of technology?
Um, I think that technology um, really can improve our lives when it starts getting out of the way,
Mm.
um, and when it just facilitates things. As both of you have said, you know, we're feeling time pressures, and we're
Mm.
trying to reduce, the time, the thing, the things that take a lot of time, maybe repetitive tasks or things like that in our lives. And I think that's where technology really can enhance things. And it can be simple. I'm thinking actually even about the door locks on my house.
Mm.
I have smart door locks, quote unquote
Oh,
smart.
wow.
So I can walk up to my door, I can enter a code. Um, Certain doors I can just use my fingerprint, depending which one. But my favorite really is just taking my phone, putting it up to the door lock, or taking my watch, putting it up to the door lock, and it just unlocks for me. Then I don't have to fuss with a key. I don't have to worry about, oh, where did I put my key? And if we have people coming and staying with us, I can just go, okay, let me just give you access temporarily to my house. You can come in without me having to give you a key, and then when you leave, you don't have to remember to to give me the key, send it back, things like that. I can just, I can set a time limit, or just remove the access, and then we're good to go. So that's a place where I think technology is, where I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Those types of automations that um, we can just make things work without our intervention and make them work well.
I wonder
Um,
though if there are some concerns having all this, like what you said, you have a smart locked to your door and things like that. I wonder if you think there might be some concerns in relying too much on technology.
I think the the thing that people are going to be concerned, or going to think when they hear that I have a smart door lock, is just security.
Hmm.
Well, what if somebody hacks it? What if um, you know all these things, and that is a risk. Um,
Right.
but we've got to be honest here. There's a risk that somebody can come and just jimmy your door open, can either break it down, or even just pick the lock. As you can do a search on YouTube and find plenty of people who can scare you, because they can open up a door lock in 30 seconds and leave no trace.
Oh
um,
man, yeah, I
is
suppose.
is that a problem? Is that a security risk? Yes, it can be. um,
Mhm.
and that's where technology companies need to do better. And that's also where we kind of have to pick, even picking the products that we look at. I've tried to be very careful, and look for things um, that should be more secure, um, that I've been able to vet maybe the company, or taking a look at that, what, or even just what are the requirements to be, for example, an Apple HomeKit device. Because certain companies can restrict that and put some put some more security on that as well.
I really am interested, if that's all right with us, if we could we could share how technology have improved our lives. And so of course, I would love to hear from Neil and you, Andre, too. So, Neil, maybe I'll focus on you here. And how has technology has improved your day-to-day and, personal and professional lives?
Well, I do love having electric light bulbs in my house. I love having a stove and oven that turn on. I don't have to light a fire and deal with a lot of smoke. I think Andre made a great point that
Yeah,
technology becomes better as it disappears and you don't even think about it anymore. And it's just part of your lived experience that is in the background that you take for granted, right? Having electricity, I think a couple of 100 years ago, that was a huge innovation, or maybe even just 100,
right.
I don't know. And everybody was talking about how do you put this wiring in your walls. With automobiles, everybody had to know how to fix their own car in order to be
Yeah,
able to drive one and go any distance. There's a
yeah.
great story about a member of my family once. This was probably 100 years ago or maybe 80 years ago. He was walking somewhere and somebody drove up in a car beside him and said, "Hey, would you like a lift?" And he said, "No, thanks, I'm in a hurry." Uh,
Yep.
for me personally, besides all the mundane things that you take for granted nowadays, being able to drive somewhere in a car, um, having a system of stoplights and so forth that keeps us safe at intersections, all of these things that require a lot of forethought and engineering and planning and maintenance and so forth
Mm,
that employ so many people in our lives. For me personally, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things I do without having a laptop, for example. I would
yeah.
feel handicapped if I didn't have a laptop. I wasn't able to
Hmm.
check my emails, wasn't able to take courses online and so forth. And just recently, I've added, as of Christmas, I now have a Fitbit, which I find is great
Nice.
because it actually measures my heart rate, so I know if my exercises are being effective, and I can get all kinds of information and coaching online about how I maintain my physical health. So, as far as our physical pillar on modern seniors, I think that's a great example of how
Mm.
technology can benefit us. Uh, uh, Another great example, since this is also March, the International Nutrition Month, I
Yay.
find that being able to consult with AI when I'm trying to prepare a dinner is a
Yeah,
godsend. I'm often
yeah,
scrambling at the last minute and thinking, these are the ingredients I have. What can I do? And my wife has a lot of dietary requirements and so forth and limits,
yeah,
and I can just tell AI what they all are and ask it
yeah,
to give me a recipe. Oh, last night. I'm in a real hurry tonight. It's late. I got to get dinner on. How can I speed this up? Can I put some things in the microwave?
yeah,
What
yeah,
would the timing be like? And the information just comes out, and I don't have to improvise and
yeah,
create a terrible meal.
yeah.
Andre, you're using some fitness software as well, I understand. How do you find that?
Yeah. So I I've got a bike that it's a regular outdoor bike, but I've connected it to a trainer. So
Wow.
basically, I take off the back wheel, connect it to this machine, which provides resistance and measures my performance, measures how much power I'm putting into it, and then through the use of software, I use Zwift. I'm able to ride on the bike in a
Yeah.
virtual world,
Wow.
which so I'm inside, I'm in a virtual world. That could sound actually rather isolating, and it could very well be.
Yeah.
But I have chosen to participate in events with other people, and more so, you know, there's the interaction with other people on screen. You can see,
Mm-hmm.
you're on on a bike, and the other people in the race or on the ride are also on bikes, and you're riding with them, or when you're doing a race, you're trying to compete against them. Okay, I'm gonna get ahead, or I'm gonna let him pull me along.
Did
And
you say this is virtual?
this is virtual, yes.
Wow. So cool. Wow.
And I think the best part of it is when I'm doing these rides and I get onto and they've got a chat component. So
Okay.
oftentimes we'll use a different program like Discord or whatnot, but where people on the ride can talk to each other.
Neat.
So, like you're outside in a virtual ride, or in a real world ride, and you're riding with other people and you can chat with them. You can do the same thing here.
So did
And
you say that you can pedal?
yes,
Oh my word. So you're getting your exercise and at the same time you're also getting your social need as well.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. You have to share that up to us.
You need the hardware too, though. I mean, you need something to put your back wheel on your
Oh,
bike.
that is true. Oh, that is true.
It's yeah. So there's a bit of initial investment because
Okay.
of you need a bike, and then you need the trainer. They've actually Zwift themselves have come out with a um, bike
Yeah.
that basically just an indoor trainer bike. So it
Yeah.
doesn't have a front wheel at all, um, and it connects to the trainer. And I think the whole setup is going to would be right around $1,000 Canadian, and then you've got everything you need to actually just hop on and ride. The setup is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it might need some help because those components are going to be heavy.
Yeah.
I know my trainer, that takes some muscle to lift that. But yeah, you set up the program, and then you can ride with people in simulated worlds.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other programs that let you ride with actual real video footage from these rides, so you could even explore different areas and see what does it okay, well, a lot of these rides tend to be climbing hills, climbing mountains, and so you
Mm-hmm.
get great views.
Hmm. As a
We have
cyclist,
to,
Andre, can I just ask a quick technical question?
yeah.
Because you said that
Yes.
you put the back wheel into this thing, but the back
Yeah.
wheel is where all the derailleur and stuff is in it. Whenever I have to take off my back wheel to change a tire or something, it's a huge project. How do you work that into your daily routine? Doesn't it take up a lot of
Right.
time?
um you get pretty quick at it, especially because with the quick release, and then the cassette stays on the trainer. So you're just taking that off, and you're putting the derailleur and putting the chain on. Um, a little very little secret: this bike behind me hasn't left the trainer in a year. I have another bike I ride outside, but yeah, it can take if you're doing one and you're swapping it frequently, it can take a little bit of time. You'll get used to it and just okay, just put that down there. Away we go. The newest ones can be even less configuration because they don't have a full cassette. They just have one gear on the trainer, and then they use virtual shifting. So you just get your trainer to shift for you rather than having to use the gears on your bike and making
And
sure
a,
they're
yeah,
aligned and all that stuff. So
and a lot more
um,
people are switching to electronic shifting these days too, I've heard.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Well, what I really like about this conversation, Andre, is that you actually almost touch base the four pillars that we have already decided that we would want to cover, and so you touch base in the social aspect of it, and the physical. You also touch base the technology side of things. We've covered a whole gamut of topics that the modern seniors are interested in bringing together into our podcasts. And I wanted to make sure that we have enough time to cover one area. And so, Neil, do you want to encourage our viewers to subscribe and yeah, do other things, the fun things that they can
Yes,
do.
absolutely. As you can probably tell, we are just starting off on this journey. We're enjoying it immensely so far, but we realize we've only scratched the surface of the potential of this podcast. We look forward to building a community of energized, capable, and contributing elders, and having interesting conversations and learning a lot from that community and supporting each other.
Yeah. So if you have not done so, we would really encourage you to subscribe and to like, leave us a comment, and bad or good, as Neil said earlier, we are just starting and we are looking for ideas, topics, and individuals that you want us to invite into our podcast. And we are learning together, but the joy that I'm really looking forward to in building is that building a community with you. And so we are very grateful for Andre, of course, for coming. And Andre, I'm putting you back to the spotlight here. And we would really encourage you, if you have any encouragement to our viewers, the modern seniors, the 50 plus, if you have any encouragement in terms of what you have learned using technology, this is your spot.
I think what I'd like to say is um, technology can help, but technology shouldn't run your life. It shouldn't be the main thing that you have to deal with every day. And I think the biggest thing, if you can embrace technology, even in just small ways, looking at how you can use it to communicate to, with loved ones who are maybe not local, maybe, in other parts of the country or other parts of the world. Um, I love the fact that I can take my phone and do a video chat with my grandfather in France.
Wow.
He's in his late 90s, but I can still call him up on the phone and chat with him. That's a wonderful thing that we have access to. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I that is a really good encouragement. And technology, as Andre said earlier, it is a tool, and it will, if you can adapt and start with small learning, and from there, you'll be amazed at how much progress you're making. So thank you so much, Neil. Do you have a last piece of encouragement?
It's tempting to say, if we can do it, you can do it. But I realize that people do struggle a lot with technology. It's important to remember that we're all people and we can all help each other. And we can look for people who are struggling. If we are familiar with technology, we can offer to help them. Or if we are struggling ourselves, there's a world of people who are more experienced and can help us. And this has been a blessing to us on our journey, finding people like Andre who can help us. We're looking for sponsors and partners as well to support this podcast. So if you can contribute in any way, whether it's with technological help, we haven't set up a website yet, I believe, or financially, of course, other aspects. If you can, as Amin said, suggest a guest that you would like to see on the podcast, or perhaps volunteer to appear yourself, that would be terrific.
And I meant to share this earlier, before we began our conversation. Outside of our building, there's a huge truck, because they're building a 19-story building next to us. So I'm saying this because you're probably hearing the noise. So I apologize for this, thinking that this is actually a live stream. So if you're hearing that, my apologies. But we continue to be human. So my encouragement to all of you who are watching, be continue to be who you are, and live boldly and continue to engage, because as your friend, you matter, and you are enough, and you are heard, and you are seen. So until next time, from my co-host Neil Parker and myself, Ami Peacock, and our amazing friend and guest, first guest to this podcast, Andre Barron. Thank you all so much for giving us your time, and you are amazing, and God bless. Bye bye.